So, for a long time now, I've been talking about the fact that maybe Marvel is headed the right direction, or at least Disney and some of its studios are picking the right way to go. And I think that may be more true than even a lot of us realized. Of course, we'd heard just several months ago, and this was corroborated by Film Threat, Chris Score over there, that Marvel had gone about removing a bunch of quote unquote woke producers. And they certainly had. They'd gotten rid of a lot of people that were responsible for some really bad decisions over there and for some really bad policies that kind of drove us to where we are now with the MCU. A bunch of characters that really don't belong where they are and aren't fan favorites, to put it kindly. Now, what's interesting or funny about all of that is that the leader of the pack, the person that had been kind of leading everything this direction for the last 14 or 15 years, has decided to step away. And sometimes that means decided to be fired. And I mean, they didn't make the decision, obviously, but they just kind of got volunteered to leave. And they get some kind of really strange exit prize. Usually, if it's somebody like, let's say, a Kathleen Kennedy, you get a bunch of awards. Like they find a way to have a bunch of organizations or places give you awards. In this particular situation, they're just like giving you a parting gift of a producer credit. And maybe that's the best you're going to hope for. Well, this just actually happened. And I know that that seems rather far-fetched, but it's the truth. The person I'm speaking about was well-known. Producer Nate Moore is leaving Marvel Studios. He's been there for 14, almost 15 years, and his parting gift is a producer credit on Black Panther 3. I'm not sure exactly how much they'll listen to this guy. I mean, he was behind some really poor policies. In fact, let me share with you the article from Variety versus the article from everybody else. Producer Nate Moore is leaving Marvel Studios after 14 years. Will still work on Black Panther 3. Okay. Nate Moore is a top creative executive at Marvel Studios and producer of Black Panther, Eternals, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. One of those three movies was good and did well. Two of them did not so good. And the upcoming Captain America Brave New World is something that he's involved in as well, which has had a terrible production cycle, having multiple reshoots. In fact, the entire film has been reshot at least once, if not at this point, maybe two or three times. And it's also just out of an abundance of, well, trying to do better. Let's try that again. Two or three times. But he's leaving the studio after 14 years, according to this article, to pursue independent producing of what? His history isn't spectacular. He's the person that forged ahead with an idea that maybe it's not important or maybe it's a problem if you have fans work on a production. Well, we'll get to that here in just a second, but according to the article from Kevin Feige himself, Nate is a fantastic executive and colleague, as well as a wonderful friend to us all here at Marvel Studios. He has been a core member of our team since 2010, and his influence will continue to reverberate in our storytelling. Although we'll miss him a great deal, we look forward to watching what he does next, while also having the good fortune of working with him in a new way on our next Black Panther movie. Well, that's if they actually make a Black Panther 3. I don't think anybody really wants it, and I don't think the last one was terribly well received. And a lot of people want to know where Moore came from. Well, he started out at Participant Media, a company started by a billionaire in order to make woke things. And while he moved on from there to Marvel Studios in the earliest of days, right after the release of the first two Iron Man movies and The Incredible Hulk, he helped to develop what became the screenplay for Guardians of the Galaxy. Need to check in with Mr. Gunn on that one. He served as a co-producer and executive producer of 2016's Captain America Civil War and was the key creative in 2018's Black Panther as an executive producer. But we absolutely need to go into the past to understand the future. You see, Marvel Studio producer considers it a red flag if prospective writers are fans of the original comics, prefers to hire someone who's out of the culture. In other words, this is one of the people that pushed in the wrong direction to change the culture at Marvel Studios. Spencer Bakuli at Bounding Into Comics wrote this article back on November 21st of 2022. It was a bad decision. There are many bad decisions along the way, and this man is partially responsible for that. And Spencer writes, as if it wasn't obvious enough from simply watching any of the studio's post-Infinity War output, producer Nate Moore has revealed that he believes the key to Marvel Studios' success is hiring writers who are out of the comic book culture over anyone who loves the source material. See, bad idea genes. Moore, whose career has seen him serve as producer of such Marvel Cinematic Universe entries as Captain America Civil War, which was actually pretty good, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was also pretty good, but most recently Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which was absolutely terrible and reflected as much in the box office earnings. It's a Black Panther movie without a Black Panther. And he shared his insight into Marvel Studios' hiring philosophy during an appearance on the November 16th episode of The Ringers, the Town podcast. That's right. And look, there's a picture of Naboo. Sounds an awful lot like Nate Moore, doesn't it? Speaking with Matthew Belloni, let's be honest, that's his name, about his general experience working for the Disney subsidiary, Moore was eventually asked if there was some kind of a Marvel boot camp or something that you do with these filmmakers to ingratiate them or bring them into this world and knowing all things that they need to know, to which the producer confirmed, not really. Oh, that's a bad sign. Noting that some Marvel writers grew up reading and collecting comics, such as Avengers Endgame co-director Joe Russo and Black Panther director Ryan Coogler, Moore told Bellin, one thing I think is interesting, and specifically for writers, I would say, is that a lot of times we're pitched writers who love Marvel. And to me, that's always a red flag. Having people who like the material and understand it is a red flag. Well, you're a red flag, which is probably why you're finally gone. He continued, I don't want you to already have an existing idea of what it is because you grew up with the comics, and that's what I want you to recreate, he explained. I want someone who's going to be hard on the material who can go, what is this? I think there is a movie here, but maybe we should be looking at it in this way. Of course, deconstruction. And that's kind of exactly how we ended up where we were. But we need to move on to, well, another representation of this article written by Matt McGloin over there at comicbook.com. You see, his take is similar to mine. MCU producer Nate Moore exits Marvel following rumors of woke execs getting fired. And I don't think they're rumors. I think it actually legitimately did happen. I think we saw 14 to 16 names leave suspiciously close to one another within the same studio. And those people seem to have been the ones carrying the water for the woke, except for the lead person, which seems to be this guy. Following the rumors that Marvel fired all of its woke execs that ruined the MCU, now it's learned producer Nate Moore who's exiting Marvel. The news also follows the reports Captain America Brave New World has been a disaster with massive reshoots and a ballooning budget, which was ballooning up until the last few days, actually, and comes only 2 months before the film's release, which will probably have some muddied CGI effects, I would imagine, after some of the recent reshoots. Moore is the Marvel producer who went crazy woke with Eternals. It was his idea to replace the original characters from the comics with a diverse cast. How'd that work out? Not well. Following the failure of Secret Invasion, Kevin Feige overhauled its TV division, which includes retooling Daredevil Reborn Again. Or Born Again, or Born Again Again, Reborn Again. Now, it is known that Ironheart won't be following the comics, which means it's not going to do very well. No positive expectations for Riri Williams. While, of course, that may not be a bad thing when it comes to the titular character, the show's villain is the Hood, who will be gangster turned activist from Chicago, along with Riri Williams. You can't make this up. Anthony Ramos revealed he didn't read the comics, but he's put a new fresh spin on the character to make it fit with the present day. Yay. And of course, as I mentioned before, Moore actually produced Wakanda Forever, which turns Namor into a Mexican, and the 90-pound Shuri becomes the Black Panther. And the film, of course, forces the use of Ironheart onto the fans, who has no reason to be in the movie whatsoever. Moore is also listed as producing Armor Wars, which is supposed to feature Ironheart, if that actually happens, which I don't think so, because it sounds like he's out the door as soon as they're done with Black Panther 3, which I also doubt will actually get made. And if it does, that box office is going to be terrible. Matt actually references the Deadline article that we looked at just a few moments ago, saying he's leaving Marvel in early 2025. Well, yeah, really early, like February 14th, because that's the day that we all get the lovely present of Captain America Brave New World without Captain America. Course. I think the last woke timber to fall is going to be the other major executive there, Luis de Esposito. And I think that the day that happens is the time to rejoice, because then you just have Kevin Feige going back to what Kevin Feige should be doing, which is just kind of guiding the ship between the different worlds to get the stories together. And that's about all I expect from him, or want from him, for that matter. But let's visit on what Nate Moore himself said on his way out the door. Well, slowly out the door. I mean, like, this guy is taking a long, long time to leave. Nearly everything I know about producing, I've learned from my time at Marvel. I feel lucky to have worked with a group of people who love filmmaking and storytelling as much as my Marvel colleagues and the cast and crew of our films. But I couldn't be more excited to apply my experience and passion for film towards theatrical movies in all genres, including returning to the world of Wakanda for Black Panther 3. Well, good luck, buddy. I don't know if there'll be any will or money to make that film. I highly doubt it. And that kind of leaves us where we are. Is Nate Moore's departure one of the last that needs to happen so we can get back to something good coming out of the MCU? I hope so, because the future for the MCU looks a bit rough. And while Daredevil may be something that was saved, we won't know until that comes out. And while we may get this Ironheart situation, which I keep calling Braveheart for some reason, I'm not terribly excited about it. Are you? Regardless, this may actually be the turning point for Marvel. And if it is, thank goodness. And if it's not, well, then it's just going to die a much faster death, because it has been dying a very slow death for quite some time. And the only thing that stopped the bleeding was Deadpool and Wolverine. And let's just be honest, somebody just applied a tourniquet for a brief period of time at that point. Is Nate Moore the last limb that needs to be removed before the body can begin to heal? Or is the MCU, the body of the MCU, too far gone and is already lost forever? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And while you're down there, hit the thumbs up button and be sure you're subscribed, because guess what? I'm trying to get to 50K and you're the only way I can do that. Plus, it's free. Take advantage of the free subscription offer and hit that button. Turn on the notification bell. Check back with the channel every single day, because we always have something here for you, whether it be a live stream, a video, couple videos, couple live streams. You never know. So be sure to turn on all those notifications. And on that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya for real.